Hey, what is up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, I am doing a review of the Black Widow film. So it was supposed to come out in May of 2020, and obviously because of the pandemic, it came out last week. So yeah, this is a little bit late. I meant to do this earlier in the week. Hold on one sec. What? All right, there we go. Microphone's being a little bit weird. All right, that's much better. All right, so again, just lots of work, lots of life. But yeah, so let's get into it. So I really enjoyed this film. I I had a lot of like the action of this film was amazing. Like I loved it. I wanted more of it, and it was very a cross between like Mission Impossible and James Bond. There we go. Wow, I am blanking out left and right. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is like it puts her like it puts Black Widow as like one of the top super spies in the world. It sort of goes more into her story. I love Johansson's role, though I think the actress that played her sister, though, really took the edge up on me. Like I had more feelings for her, and I enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, I loved Johansson. I loved her presence, and I thought she did a great performance. I just think that for me, and what was her name? Let's see. It is Florence Pooh? How the heck do you say that? I am not entirely sure how to say that. Pugh. So, uh, but yeah, Florence. So I loved her character tremendously. I felt that anytime that there was supposed to be emotion with her, I did feel it, and that's good. Like especially when you have a new character that you're bringing in, it's it's super thing. Like I'm trying to explain these characters without getting into spoilers. We're gonna do a spoiler section here in a bit, but yeah, we're just doing the just the review for right now. So I love Johansson's. I love how that it captured her past. You know, sort of what happened, and then like the whole concept of family in this movie, which is ironic because if you've seen the, F9, Fast and Furious 9, whatever the heck you want to call it, again, there's so many memes out there so about family, so whatever. Let's see. So David Harbour, oh my gosh, is the Red Guardian. He was amazing. He wasn't like your principal character, but he was a strong like supporting character, and I loved it. Like he was hilarious. I loved his accent. I I absolutely loved his character with a passion. Like he does his characters like so well, and it's good to see him in like a big role. I don't know if you'd call it a main role. I mean, it is a strong supporting role, but I mean, maybe I don't know. I think it was just a supporting role, but it was a strong supporting role. But yeah, I and good for him. He deserves it. And let's see who else we had. Oh, Rachel Weisz as the Iron Maiden, which you only know if you read the comics. I don't think I need to see it again to make sure, but I don't think I heard the words Iron Maiden anywhere in this movie. So if you don't know like the comics, you have no idea who the Iron Maiden is. and I think they could have done more with her, to be honest. I mean, for the screen time she did get, I think she did a great job, but I think that they did not utilize her as much as I would have liked to have seen. But I mean, that could just be me. So I don't know. Let's see. I was disappointed with Taskmaster. Like in the comics, like he's not uh like A-list superhero or supervillain. He's sort of the lackey that trains a lot of other lackeys, if you know the comics. And I don't mind that they turned it into him into a woman for this. Like that part I didn't care like it just seemed a little like the story itself of that it just was a little weird. But I mean, with these movies, they cut a lot of these stories very short. I mean, there are so many comics and so much writing involved with all these characters that yeah, you get some changes, some things that are supposed to go well better in movie format than in comic format with what was already written. So, but I mean, just Taskmaster in general, like if you know, like Taskmaster has the ability to mimic, physically mimic, like they can't do like super strength or they don't have superpowers. They just have a really great memory. So they mimic other people's villains and superheroes like moves, and they can do it really, really well. The catch of that is that you lose he lo- yeah, he in the comics he loses his memories. In the comics he's also kind of arrogant, cocky, full of himself. In the movie it didn't really show much personality, and Taskmaster really wasn't that imposing. Like I didn't feel like there was this great threat with Taskmaster. I mean, a good fighter for sure. Like I mean, the fight scenes were great again, but it just not what I would have figured for Taskmaster. I think Taskmaster was a little bit underwhelming for what I wanted Taskmaster to be. So there was that. Where else can I go with this? I mean, obviously, the music of the Avengers movies, so I mean, that's always on point. The visuals and the locations, like I loved all the different locations. Like if you look at the filming of this, they filmed all over the place. They went to freaking like Norway, Budapest, England, Atlanta, all over Georgia. Let's see where they went to three locations. They had Atlanta, Macon, and Rome, Georgia. Like Norway, Budapest, or Budapest. Uh, I don't know the actual pronunciation of it. I always just called it Budapest, but I know that there are people that call it Budapest. So whatever on that. But yeah, they went all over the place, and it was great. Like you saw, like I imagine, like in what was supposed to be Russia, like Norway. Then you had deserts, and of course Budapest. I'm going to call it Budapest, so get over it. Budapest, like, was Budapest, like, that was great. I wonder what parts they did in, like, Georgia, like, and why they needed three locations, but I thought they did a great job. Like, everything looked amazing. There was a point where there's, like, an avalanche coming, like, just the visuals of everything. And we'll get into that more in spoilers, but yeah, the visuals of everything was just it was amazing. Again, very super spyish, very Mission Impossible, very and there is an actual Mission Impossible like thing that comes up in this movie, like for reals, and it's pretty good. And a James Bondish. Like there's a point where there's explosions everywhere, and this whole base is like falling down from the sky, which again we'll get into later, and it's just crazy. But I mean, ultimately, like there was a lot I loved about this movie. There were some things that were a disappointment. Like I think the story toward the beginning up until probably the last act, it was just like this is a great story. I actually really enjoying this. I mean, the emotional beats I don't think were I think in terms of like the family establishment they were trying to go for, it seemed a bit rushed and it didn't and forced and it didn't quite work as well. Like it was definitely there for me, but I think it was just a bit rushed and it didn't like hit as strongly by the end of it as I think they meant it to. But I mean it definitely was there and I did enjoy that. But I mean at the end, like the story itself was kind of like just like you went there, okay, come on, really. It was sad. The villain himself was just it was sad, generic, like okay, and I was he seems to have an inferiority complex, like, it's just like the guys with the big truck, you're compensating for something. It's just like, oh, you like to brag about all this. Okay. And you find out that's part of a plan, but we'll get into that again in spoilers. So I think we will cut this just quickly end this, go to the review score, and then go into spoilers. So, me, I'm giving this an 8 of 10. It's not my favorite Marvel movie, but I think it was a very very good Marvel movie and just a very good movie in general. Like I enjoyed it. I loved it. It had some weaknesses, obviously, but for the most part, this is definitely worth it. And I think it is definitely worth to see it in theaters because, again, the visuals, just the action, you want to see this on the big screen. Like, you have to see this on the big screen to fully appreciate it. Obviously, be safe. I know restrictions are coming back all over. So, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, if you have a chance to, if you want to, if you are vaccinated, if you are not high risk, go to the theater. See this movie in theaters. It is totally worth your time, and it is an experience that you won't get like just watching it from your home or streaming. Like, this is one I would definitely suggest watching in a theater. So, 8 of 10 from me. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing more in Phase 4. This is apparently the first of Phase 4, so. Oh, one more thing before we go. The one thing I will say is just the timing of this. Also, if this had come out before Endgame, what is it, Endgame? Or. But anyway, the one where Black Widow dies, where she sacrifices herself to defeat Thanos and bring everyone back and all that. If this had come out before then it would have made that moment so much more impactful. I think the timing of when this came out was actually a real disservice to the Black Widow character. I mean, it was, again, a good movie, but I think it would have been better served, and her character would have been better served if this had come out before, the movie where she died. And it would have made it much more impactful, and it would have made this movie. But, it is what it is. So, again, 8 of 10, fully enjoyed it. and see this in theaters if you can. So we will be back in just a little bit with the spoiler section. Catch you then.